Hi everyone. So a lot of students in the state of Washington in a few years recently have been using WAMAP to be doing their online homework or online assessment in mathematics. And so I would like to make this video to show you how to input a graphing solution of a linear inequality to WAMAP. Now, this video is not aiming at showing how to graph your graphing solution of a linear inequality. This video is aimed at after you already had your graphing solution of a linear inequality and how we can enter that solution into WAMAP so that WAMAP can successfully accept your answer as a correct answer. So let's now say specifically in a math assignment on WAMAP, there is a problem that is asking you, let's say you are given the following inequality with two variables. So here's your inequality. It's 45x plus 40y being less than 360. And we want to graph the solution of this inequality, this linear inequality, two variables with WAMAP. And so you have learned with your instructor in various different ways of how you can graph the solution of this. But basically, so first thing, this solution must be a line. And then what's to represent the inequality, we have to either make a shading to represent either above the line or below the line. And whether this inequality is having the equal sign or not, then we're going to be using the dotted line for without equal sign and solid line for having equal sign. So that's the brief idea. So I tend to teach my students, but that's just my own style. You can also learn from your own instructor, but it's all going to give you the same graphical solution. But my point here is before you can enter the solution here into WAMAP, you need to have your own solution first. Either your own hand sketch, depending on how your teacher wants to approach on that. But you can use technology to get the graph here. There are Desmos. You can visit desmos.com to make really a nice graph here. But it does take you a little bit of time to learn it. Or you can also use your TI 83 or 84 calculator that can also do the graphing. So I myself teach my students anytime they're graphing the solution of a linear inequality like this in two variables, then it's always easiest to bring this into the standard form slope-intercept, even though here it's an inequality. But I always teach them to turn this inequality into a slope-intercept form, similar to the slope-intercept form. So the algebra steps eventually take this inequality to the final form, being y less than minus 9 over 8 x plus 9. And of course, before viewing this video, I need anyone who views this video know how to get the steps from going from one form of the inequality, from the standard form of this linear inequality in two variables, into this slope-intercept form, even though it's only an inequality. But like I said, because this is my own style right here, so anyone who's viewing this must know the steps how to get from here to here. But so now this is, I then teach my students to see this as simply a line. So this line on a quick hand sketch version must have y-intercept value at some 9. So let's say that scale here is 9, and it's having a negative slope being negative 9 over 8. So about that much here, we can call that an 8. So a slope being negative 9 over 8 means it's a slope pointing down. And of course, here once again I'm assuming anyone viewing this video already well familiar with how to draw the graph of a linear equation. So here's the line. If this was y equals negative 9 over 8x plus 9, this line is the graph for that. However, our inequality is having the strict inequality being less than. So we're going to be shading below the line. And once again, I believe that you have seen how your instructor taught you how to do this. It should not be anything unfamiliar. And further, this line should be a dotted line since your inequality here is without the equal sign. So now I'm going to make dotted. It looks a little barbaric up here on my writing board, but that's the fastest way how I can create quick dotted line. So this is what I call the graphing solution of my inequality y being less than negative 9 over 8x plus 9. So the line itself here is the line y equals negative 9 over 8x plus 9. But then since we are really graphing an inequality, so we consider the entire region being below, and we're not including the line. So that's why we're leaving the dotted line here. So that's how we get the hand sketch version. Or, as I said, at least if you are going with the technology route, either using Desmos or the TI calculator or any other advanced software out there to make your graph, then the software or the TI calculator can quickly give you the line here. Simply, if you can find out that your inequality from start can be rewritten as a line form. And once you looking at the line, then you can once again know where to shade, either above. If the inequality is greater than, then we're shading above. And when the inequality is less than, then we're going to be shading below, like in this particular example here. But so this hand sketch solution, or with some assistance from the technology. But now the next challenge is to how we can input this solution into WAMAP, because in a time like this where a lot of classes are being moved online, then many professors, very understandable that many professors are using online assignments to help them quickly grade. And so for students, in order to get the online assignments to accept your input successfully, WAMAP here specifically has these tools right here. So when you run into a problem like that, so now let's look at my screen right here. So see these tools right here is aimed as giving you the ability to make line graphs. And after line graphs, we're going to be making a shading. So it is definitely important that you have to understand your own solution first. And here in WAMAP, we only try to enter our solution. And so now we already know at our final solution that it has to be a dotted line. So among the two tools available with WAMAP here, this other tool right here, right below the graph area, the picture here is, I apologize that there's no way I can zoom it in any further, but the button here, the tool here is indicating that here we should be using this tool because it will give us a dotted line. And so just like that, once we click that tool, now without any further click, I'm leaving my mouse click completely off right here. I'm just gonna put my mouse into the graphing area. So now it's gonna turn into sort of like a pencil tip like this. So now let's go ahead and graph our equation of the line first. So our equation of the line, as I said, has that y-intercept. And that's why, in my own experience, I tend to teach my students to recognize any equation as an equation of a line in standard slope-intercept, because once you can see the y-intercept, it's easy to nail down the first point of your line. So your first point of your line is nowhere but just this point right here. So you put the pencil tip, and WAMAP is actually nice enough to snap the point into the successful grid right here. So you have these grids, and so WAMAP can snap it right on that right spot. And now once you make one click, make sure you release the mouse click again and be ready to drag. So from where that point is, I'm going to be dragging. So here I'm only saying I'm dragging, but I'm not holding down any mouse click. So I'm completely leaving my mouse button released. So now I'm going to drag the second point. But keep in mind again, no mouse click. Right now it's just a drag. You only made a click once up here. And then we're going to be dragging. So I'm dragging down here. And before I make my click, let's check. But every value, if we make a total ratio from this point and dropping down to this other intersect right here, then we do have a slope of being negative 9/8. So now once we know, and really it doesn't even have to be that point, as long as it's any other point here that makes sense to have a slope negative 9/8, and that's good enough to drop that second point here. So now I'm going to drop that second point by making the second click on my graph. So now after making the second click, and obviously the graph here given to us is a dotted line. Now you can see that with the mouse release, then anywhere if you move the mouse above the line, then it's going to also give you a region. If you switch the mouse to somewhere below the line, it's going to give you a different shaded region. And so now which region are we choosing here? We are going to choose the region as according to our original solution. The region we choose here is the region below the line. So now turning your mouse and moving your mouse to some area below the line here. Now I'm going to make a third click, one third click. So it's going to generate some random point, but that's the algorithm with WAMAP here. So all you need is make a third click, and that third click is going to set the region, the shaded region, to be below this dotted line. And so now that's the way how you input a shaded region together with the line either being a solid or a dotted line. But now to submit your answer, then yes, you're gonna go ahead and submit the answer as usual. I am the instructor here, so my instructor account has the show answers option, but we're not gonna have to use that. So here I'm gonna hit submit, and just as usual, if your graph is correct, your input graph is correct, then it's going to show a green. And that's how you are giving, and that's how your solution, your graphing solution to a linear inequality of two variables into WAMAP.